Non-stop Sonic the Hedgehog music playlist that aims to brighten up your day. I'm Sven, also known as Dreadnux, and it's a huge pleasure for me to introduce you to this new look for our long-running radio station. We've given it a new lick of paint, a new lease of life, and a renewed purpose for modern times. Check your ears out. We've reimagined the old 24/7 radio station as a weekly show on the Sonic Stadium streaming channels, so every Friday GX and the SegaSonic Radio host crew will take you on an almost continuous Sonic audio journey, with the occasional DJ chat thrown in for good measure. We've heard a lot of feedback and requests to bring back SegaSonic Radio, and we wanted to do it in the right way, so we hope you enjoy what we've prepared for you here, and with all that said, just relax, kick back, and lose yourself in Sonic music goodness.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this inaugural, re-inaugural, some sort of it's been a while, hasn't it?
It really has been a while.
So, if you're not familiar, I am GX, aka the Spin Dash, aka Chris, and I am the person who attempts to wrangle a lot of the we'll say Twitch and video content for Sonic Stadium, and yeah, I came to Dread one day, and it was like we got people asking, we got people asking, but it's gonna be weird to just have that like full running radio station again. So came with you with a pitch. You liked it. Then several weeks later of putting together a lot of technical stuff, hey, we got there.
Yeah.
So, but it was. I don't know the exact date that the station itself left, but I know that you know the beginning better than anyone.
SegaSonic Radio has a really storied and long history, and it was just to wrap off what you said, Chris, about bringing this idea of bringing back SegaSonic Radio as a weekly show just made so much sense to me. And I had been thinking of ways to revive SegaSonic Radio for many years. I think we actually ended up closing the service in the mid 2010s, but before then the radio station had a really storied run, going back as far as 2001. So it was one of the three. I remember it quite vividly because it was the year after I was 16 years old when I made SegaSonic Radio, alongside I just launched the Sonic Stadium website itself. I just launched the SSMB, the Sonic Stadium message board, and I wanted a couple of other things under my belt to kind of think of new ideas to kind of excite the community, as it were. And this was in 2001, and one of the ideas was SegaSonic Radio, but it wasn't called SegaSonic Radio back then. It actually had a rather bunk name back then. I stupidly called it something silly like Sonic Groove Choons FM, which, you know, when you think back on it, it's just not a very great name, is it?
I don't know. That sounds like a very 2001 name. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, I even when I thought of the name, it was basically like bargain basement name. I just thought, you know what, I need to think of a name for it. That'll do, right? And it wasn't even Tunes as in TUNES. It was very like millennial. It was CHOONS. I think I spelt it. So not great. But the core concept was the same. So that had always been you know, the idea being a 24/7 radio station. And back then, with the state of the internet the way it was obviously very rudimentary compared to now, where you have podcasts, you have Spotify, you have Apple Music, you can stream pretty much anything and everything on the internet these days. But back in 2001, 2000 time, you could only really handle music, and low quality bitrate music at that. And there was a particular website out there called the Emulation Zone that was a kind of a network of websites that was focused on, as you could imagine, classic video games and the preservation of them through emulation and other things. And one of their subsites was dedicated to radio stations. They had their own, back then you had what was called an IceCast server, and you had to set it up yourself and host it on your own web server and everything. And back then it wasn't as simple as you know, as it is today. It was a lot more of a complicated process to have your own web server. So I remember pitching Sonic Groove Tunes FM, which very quickly was renamed to SegaSonic Radio. Later, 2001, it got hosted, and then it kind of got unhosted a while later, and I can't remember why. I think the issue was the website administrator only wanted one channel per genre of music, and there was already an existing Sonic music station there. So SegaSonic Radio was the second hosted radio station dedicated to Sonic, so they decided to kick us off. But that didn't stop me. I learned how to kind of do my own thing with it, and we got some rudimentary IceCast server going on the Sonic Stadium sort of around about 2003, I think it was. I want to say late 2003, because that was when we moved from free hosting website service for the Sonic Stadium to our own dedicated server. So when that happened, we had the opportunity available to us to actually start the streaming 24/7 SegaSonic Radio on our own server. So the rest is history there. I think there's a couple of landmark moments since then. I think around about 2004, we started doing live shows as well. So we called them live casts, but to anyone listening today who don't know what these weird kind of pop names are, they're essentially what podcasts were back then. We had a fancy name for them, and it was crazy because I think we were really ahead of the curve with shows like the Sonic Hour, which was the flagship live show on SegaSonic Radio, and I was the main host of that. But we were basically podcasting about Sonic before the term podcasting was even a thing. So, yeah, I'd say since even I think 2003 was when we really kind of grew as a station, and then yeah, I think the golden years of SegaSonic Radio was really kind of late 2000s, and then it kind of yeah, it kind of ran until maybe 2013, 2014.
I like this storyline in which we are establishing the dethroning of Jeff Gerstmann and Garnett Lee as the Podfathers.
I think they genuinely were the Podfathers. I'm not going to take anything away from them, but we were doing these live shows, these live casts, and we were doing them as kind of really disposable ways to just kind of talk to fans and play some good Sonic music for them as well, like in a live situation. I think the first time I actually got a taste of doing that was late 2003 or 4. 2004 was when we started doing regular shows like the Sonic Hour, but 2003 I think was when I started doing I did a live show of some kind on SegaSonic Radio as a test, and it was a special event for another thing that I had kind of conjured up in 2001 alongside SegaSonic Radio called the Sonic Site Awards, and that was an annual awards ceremony that we hosted on the Sonic Stadium. And the award show was something that we hosted on SegaSonic Radio live. So we kind of announced the winners of, who won Best Sonic Fan Site that year, and who got Best Fan Artist that year. All of those were announced live on SegaSonic Radio, and that was the test basis for doing live shows, and it seemed to go down well. So we thought, well, let's just try and do it regularly. And because we were teenagers back then, we were kids, we didn't know what we were doing, but we also had spare time. These days you can broadcast on Twitch and have a Twitch stream chat right there on the side of the screen. We didn't have that technology back then, but what we did do was kind of...
You had IRC.
We did have IRC, yeah.
I was in the IRC for the late era Sonic Hour episodes.
Yeah, and
that's how I remember listening to them.
That was crazy, because we had we had a little pocket of about 30 to 40 people every week just kind of logging on to our own IRC chat room every week just for that show, and it was ridiculous. We had lots of fun engaging with people and stuff, so it was a lot of fun. And I think soon after the Sonic Hour started becoming more of a regular thing that we thought, there's something here, let's keep doing it. The channel started to grow, and we couldn't do everything ourselves, so we ended up having a lot of people in the community who also wanted to host their own radio shows. Yeah, we had a number of shows, and yeah, it ran for pretty much about 10 years doing those live shows. Yeah, it's crazy just to know how long it's been going. And I think maybe if we want to talk about why I think maybe we closed the service in the mid 2010s, I think it was just lack of interest. I had a lot of other things going on. Obviously, as you grow up, you have real life things to figure out. So I couldn't dedicate all my time to doing SegaSonic Radio. So I think I passed the reins on to someone else who would kind of manage all of the live stuff and stream stuff and the live casting. And I think the same thing hit those guys as well. So, life caught up with them. So I think with no one really broadcasting on a regular basis, and the nature of the internet changing as we were, still, it felt like we were kind of still in the Bronze Age a little bit, while everyone was moving over to the Industrial Revolution. I guess, people were starting to listen to professionally produced podcasts on services that were very accessible. And if you wanted to listen to Sonic music as well, Sega had started to put out soundtracks on Spotify. They started to put out soundtracks on Apple Music. These services weren't available 10 years ago. So it's those services started popping up, and it became much more accessible for people to listen to Sonic music on a whole range of different devices and services. So the result of that was, even though there was a lot of love for SegaSonic Radio, the popularity of the channel, even with the streaming side of things, the 24/7 stream, that kind of collapsed. So it kind of ended up being like a case of, should we keep maintaining this 24/7 stream if no one's listening to it, really? And if people have the option to listen to it, why are they listening to it compared to, higher bit rate, higher quality versions straight from the source, straight from Sega on Spotify and stuff? You should support the original artists and producers of the soundtracks, right? So we thought it was kind of time to kind of call it a day with SegaSonic Radio, and that was kind of really the reason why we shut things down. And we did it really quietly. We didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but it did kind of start. I think people did notice, as you mentioned, GX, with people very slowly but very loudly also asking whether we can bring it back. I've actually had a few emails myself and a few messages over the years, people just saying, hey, I used to love this show, I used to love the Sonic Hour, I used to love just listening to Sonic music while I was doing homework or while I was doing this and that. Can we have it back? And I think this is where this renewed vision of SegaSonic Radio comes in, because I feel like this is a perfect mix of what we were doing with the livecast stuff, with the streaming, but also it gives fans another avenue to listen to non-stop Sonic music when they want. So yeah, I think cutting things down to a weekly radio station, almost as if you're listening to your favorite radio station, and every Saturday morning, for example, there's that one DJ you really like. I think SegaSonic Radio's renewed kind of vision is, we're on Twitch and we're on, other streaming platforms. And, every Friday, if you're a Sonic fan, we're the guys you listen to for an hour and a half to get your Sonic fix.
I appreciate the sentiment that you put out there, that people might like the things I have to say. That's not generally the case, but let's start from there and see where it goes.
I love good ideas, so
Well, as much as I am attempting to plan out this efficient and powerful machine engine of music, the reality is a lot of this is being built as we are driving, so it's always possible we might just drive into a ditch. But what we're going to do is, I have a structure in mind here. I've got some songs in a nice fancy playlist here. For today's episode, I basically went across the Sonic Stadium staff and said, hey, give me some requests, and we're launching with this because, yeah, it's Sonic's birthday week. This is a big piece of Sonic Stadium history. Let's do this right. And I got responses from you and other members of the staff. So we've got some songs to play. And in the future, we might have other features. We might have opportunities for audience requests and participation. We don't have that ready yet. But you know what? Like I said, we're working on it. We'll get there. We've got, to celebrate Sonic birthday, Hero of Legend requested Sonic Adventures It Doesn't Matter, the theme of Sonic. And specifically, the Sonic Adventure version. And then we got something of my personal choice, one of my favorite Sonic soundtracks, Sonic the Fighters, with Get Into the Wave 2, the Song of Character Select.
Well, I don't show off, don't criticize.
Hi, this is GX. This is actual GX. This is live GX. If my microphone decides to work properly, which it does not appear to be. Hello? Hi, I am testing this microphone now, and it seems to actually work, as opposed to before when it was not. Hey, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. Sven was not actually able to be on the first episode with me the whole time. Yeah, we are. This was a bit of a collaboration to just kind of be able to have him on the first episode. We did a bit of a pre-record, had him go through. He knows the playlist. He went through, chatted with me. We talked about a bunch of topics related to the anniversary, related to specific games, and some of the music choices that he selected. And yeah, we're going to sort of play it that way. Some weeks we will have a live guest. Some weeks we will be able to have other pre-records, mostly for people in the UK because it's after midnight for them at this point. And that's the plan. Tonight's going to be long. I will tell you that ahead of time as someone who edited all of the pre-record audio. Expect this whole show to be about 2.5 hours. It's just kind of how it worked out. Not every show is going to be like that in the future. It's just a matter of sort of how the timing worked out, and the fact that I went to all of the stadium staffers and said, give me 3 songs. And turns out, that many people giving you 3 songs is actually a lot of song time. So before we head back to the next set of music tracks and then a bit more of myself and Dread, I am going to introduce that we had requests this week from many staffers, including Sven himself, Dreadnux, Alex, aka Knuckles87, SSF1991, Hero of Legend, and Shigs. They all contributed roughly about 3 songs and made this wonderful playlist, as well as a couple choices of my own. So, without further ado, we do have a quartet of songs. 4 might seem long to play back to back, but you know what? It's not that long of a loop. We've got SSF 1991 requesting Emerald Hill Zone and the 2-player version. And Knuckles87 requested Sunset Park Zone from Sonic Triple Trouble, as well, and most specifically, the train level. Hope you enjoy, and we will be back with myself and more Dreadnux. How about you? Like I was seriously impressed yesterday with the Game Gear medley. That it was really solid, it was impressive, and they knew exactly what songs to play. I got my bridge zone, Sven. I got my bridge zone. That's all I want in life.
Yeah, hearing Bridge Zone in orchestral form on the Sonic Symphony was just magical. Like, my first video game, let alone Sonic the Hedgehog game, was the Master System version of Sonic 1. So just the moment I saw that Game Gear title screen pop up on the big screen, I knew exactly what was happening, and it sent my my inner child was going into overdrive. Like, my brain had left my head, it grown rockets, and it just fired off into space. And yeah, it was just all gravy, baby. Like, great. It was Underground Zone for me. Hearing that in orchestral form from Sonic 2 on the Master System and Game Gear, that was something I didn't know I needed until I heard it, and then I just realized, where has this been all my life? I just needed it. Yeah, Sunset Park as well, the obvious choice if you're going to do a Game Gear medley, but I'm very glad they did. These are very overlooked tracks in Sonic history. There was a lot of deep cuts in general during the orchestra, which I think we can talk about, but speaking specifically to the Game Gear stuff, yeah, it was just really great to hear all of that stuff come out.
Well, let's pick up this conversation a bit later. I have, since you are a new guest to the show, with heavy air quotes new,
A new
I've got,
guest to the new show.
yeah, sure, a new guest to an old radio station which has been abbreviated into a show. I've got my Meet the Guest questions. I've got 4 questions for you. Feel free to answer them in any way that you see fit, whether it
Uh-oh.
is formulaic or not, but I have devised 4 questions so that we may profile you as a Sonic fan and as a Sonic music fan.
All right.
Question number 1, what's your favorite Sonic game's soundtrack?
I love a lot of Sonic soundtracks, right? A lot of them are my favorites, but if I had to pick one, I think the Dreamcast Sonic Adventure soundtrack, that was the first time you really heard like real punchy music to a Sonic game, because I think the games before that, I mean, they were on Sega Saturn, they were very orchestral from Richard Jakes and so on. Sonic Jam was really just a Mega Drive compilation, so it was still 16-bit music, and everything else before that was chiptune. So hearing for the first time properly an actual a real, like, a Sonic soundtrack that was made with real instruments, a real CD quality soundtrack, and also not just that, but it was a rocking soundtrack as well. Like, every single track was a banger. Everything from Emerald Coast to Windy Hill to Final Egg and everything in between. It's made such an impact on me as a Sonic fan. I have a favorite Sonic game that's not Sonic Adventure, but if I had to pick a soundtrack, it would be Sonic Adventure. Yeah, for sure.
So despite the wonderful history lesson, I am going to move on to question 2. And question 2 is vocal themes or level music?
Which do I prefer?
Yeah. Tell me.
Well, my opinion on this changes like the seasons. But if I'm going to be honest, if we're taking main themes out of the equation, right? Like if we're taking the Crush 40s out of the equation.
No, we're putting that all in the equation. But like I
Okay.
said, you can answer it in whatever way you want to.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm going to say level music, I think, if I'm being honest, because I love the theme music to all the Sonic games from Sonic Adventure onwards. They're all great. Even, you know, Crush 40s, the character musics from the two Sonic Adventure games. Team Chaotix is probably my favorite of the lot because it's so silly and fun. But there's something about level music where if it's really good, you know, you can just lose yourself in it. I know you can lose yourself in something with lyrics, but there's something really special about something that is just instrumental, you know? Like one of my favorite things about the Team Sonic Racing soundtrack is that it's essentially, you know, you could put lyrics to any of those tracks and it would be awesome. But I think there would be something lost in a lot of Team Sonic Racing's music if they did have lyrics. A lot of these tracks are just insanely good, and the amount of times I've been working on the Sonic Stadium or just at my job, just listening to that soundtrack and just losing myself in that.
So, question 3. When you play Sonic Mania Plus, who is your go-to character?
I can't lie, it is Sonic. I'm a basic boy when it comes to this sort of thing. I love Sonic, so it's gonna be Sonic all the way.
Oh, you saw right through the psychological profiling attached to this question.
Yeah. Yeah, am I a Mighty or a Ray? I think is what you were trying to think, right? So, but you know, there is.
Oh, you could still be a Tails or a Knuckles. Those are all options.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, this is the great thing about Sonic Mania Plus, actually, with the Encore mode, because you can play as everyone at once, technically speaking. Like, depending on, you know, which item boxes you get and, you know, how you switch between the characters, I think is a really great, like, addition to Sonic Mania. So, you know, that's, I guess if I were to cheat a little bit, you know, I'd say all the characters, because I play Encore mode, and I'd switch between Sonic for the speedy bits and, you know, maybe Ray for the swoopy glidey bit.
That has a different psychological profile, and it's the I can't be decisive one.
Oh, you saw right through that one, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, Sonic. There we go. Job done.
Question 4.
Mm-hmm.
Part of what I prefer doing is, you know, Sonic fans occasionally get a bad rap outside of Sonic fans. Let's be honest. There is sort of a belief around. I want to open us up. I want to show that yes, we're still well-rounded people. We still like other things. We just have this thing in common. So I want to know, what is your favorite non-Sonic game or series?
Yakuza.
Good, solid. Still a Sega fan through and through, but
I do not need to explain myself. Actually, I would. You know what? If I wasn't doing a Sonic the Hedgehog fan site, fan radio station, fan network, my life would be consumed by the Yakuza series. It is by far and away Sega's best developed modern series in the last 20 years. Like, it's fantastic. I remember playing the very first Yakuza game way back when I was a games reviewer for a games website, and I had the PS2 copy, and it wasn't very widely known. I think Sega had pumped loads of money into it because they wanted to market it as the Japanese version of Grand Theft Auto, and everybody was sold on this idea that it was the Japanese version of Grand Theft Auto, and I played it and I loved it, but it was not the Japanese version of Grand Theft Auto. And the website I wrote for wasn't very big, so whatever I said didn't really have much of an impact in the wider gaming community. But despite my protestations saying don't go in thinking this is a Japanese GTA, it's not. It's basically a 3D single player Streets of Rage in modern Japan, and it's amazing. You should look at it like this.
It kind of delivers on what Shenmue attempted to promise.
I would say it's a really nice evolution of what Shenmue tried to do. Yeah, I think obviously the objectives between Shenmue and Yakuza are very different. I think Shenmue is very much about there's a lot of Zen kind of sensibilities in that game. For
Shenmue, you have to be very internally driven on just doing things in the environment for the sake of doing things. Yakuza is willing to give you the carrot on the stick of, here's a bunch of things to do, but we will attach story and occasionally rewards to it.
Yeah, the way I see it is that Shenmue is very much a game that people should play if they want to play a game that's story driven, obviously, but it's something that's very self-reflective. Like, you need a lot of patience for Shenmue, and that's intentional. The game basically demands that you live your life through this almost simulation like RPG, and it's beautiful in what it accomplishes. But with Yakuza, I liken that to just a really, really well done, finely tuned crime drama. I'm so happy now that it's got the audience that it has, because through the remasters and the re-releases, because now so many other people can enjoy Yakuza, and I'm just going, everyone's going, Yakuza's amazing, and I'm just going, looking at them going, I know, it's so good. So yeah,
once people figured out what it was, it took a while for Yakuza to figure out what it was as well, but when it did, it did.
I mean, the only other game series, I guess you call it, that even comes close in top games of all time is the Mass Effect series. If Yakuza didn't exist, I would say Mass Effect, but Yakuza exists, so my answer is Yakuza.
Fair enough. And I lied, I have one more fifth gotcha question.
No, what are you doing to me?
Final question. Pro Crush 40 or anti Crush 40?
Oh, Pro Crush 40 all the way. I have no time for anti Crush 40 fellas. Like, I
don't know, you have time for me.
I think you just haven't listened to enough Crush 40. I think
I've listened to plenty of Crush 40. No, I don't hate Crush 40. I had just as much fun as everyone else did yesterday. I'm just it was from me when it was my go-to stuff when I was a teenager, and I consumed so much of it when I was a teenager, and just growing up, like I used to be the vocal themes person. I used to load it up, and I can still load it up. I think what it's come down to at this point is I still like the old stuff, but I'm also of the feeling that if Sonic as a series never had a vocal track again, it would be no lesser for it. And I understand not many people agree with that. A lot of people are here for the over-the-top, ridiculous, hard rock vocal tracks that they occasionally have. I just feel like, you know what? I see that as a remnant of me being a teenager, and I kind of want to see them move towards the really great orchestral stuff that they've done in games like Sonic Unleashed, and some of the great electronic stuff and just general upbeat rock stuff and diverse stuff that they did in games like Sonic Colors and especially Sonic Lost World.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's room for both, I mean, I don't really think that Crush 40 has really been overplayed, because they've effectively, if you excuse Team Sonic Racing, they've actually taken a bit of a break from mainline Sonic games. Like, they didn't really feature in Lost World, they didn't really feature in Colors, they didn't really feature in Unleashed. I love, by the way, Tomoya Otani's work as well. Like, I've been a big fan of his ever since I studied hearing his work in Sonic Rush Adventure, and going on to Sonic Colors, I thought his work has been nothing short of amazing and a great fit for Sonic. But yeah, I definitely think there's room for both, and I do see a point about Crush 40 and growing up and everything, but Sonic is very much a franchise that's still rooted in, it's a family sort of franchise. I don't want to say it's for kids, because I'm in my mid-30s talking about a cartoon hedgehog, so I have no, I can't say, oh, it's just for kids, it's for babies, but it really is marketed towards kids, and I think that's the main draw. And Crush 40 is a very accessible and very approachable kind of band as well. Like, their music is it's just great music, honestly. Like, I think anyone can enjoy Crush 40's music, and we might not be in our old age as attuned to tracks like Green Light Ride as we might have been when we were kids listening to Live and Learn, but I think that's for the new generation to kind of enjoy from that point of view, really.
Now that I have completely lost the audience, let's go ahead and listen to a vocal track. We've got Knuckles 87's request, Can You Feel the Sunshine from Sonic R. We will be back after some of that.
Can you see the sun is shining on me? It makes me feel so free, so alive. It makes me want to survive. And the sky, it makes me feel so
Hi, GX again. The actual live GX, not the pre-recorded GX, the one that is looking at chat right now and seeing people saying, "I'm still a Supersonic Racing man." That's how you can tell that it's live. It's the equivalent of me holding up a newspaper of today and being able to show in a photo that, I don't know, I've kidnapped someone. Hey, so we're celebrating Sonic's birthday this week over at Sonic Stadium, as well as the rest of the internet. And much of what we are doing is writing some great, we'll say, memory articles over on the site. We have memories of the original cartoons, just sort of an overview of like all of those cartoons that Sonic had a lot of cartoon series. We've got favorite music, we've got gaming memories, we've got biggest moments, we've got a bunch of exclusive Izuka interviews. It's just fantastic. It's been a very exciting time to be part of that, and Knuckles is reminding me, hey, we're going to have some comic discussion coming up too, including a brand new podcast coming to the site. So stay tuned for that. But I think one of my favorite things about the whole birthday celebration, the anniversary celebration, whichever you want to call it, has been the weird and wonderful crossovers that we've had in the just in and around Sonic. Obviously, there was the Minecraft stuff that just got announced. There was Dreadnoughts streamed some of the Olympics games. That was amazing. I loved it. Just seeing Sonic in that weird mascot suit. I got to play a bunch of the weird Fist of the North Star mobile game crossover where Sonic fighting alongside Kenshiro just beat up a bunch of Wasteland goons, just summoning Supersonic. It's like, okay, this dude who looks like he walked straight out of Mad Max is going to have a god hurled at him suddenly and instantly, and did that quite often. Some other great stuff we got coming that the Sonic crossovers have got coming up. There's supposed to be a Shin Megami Tensei mobile game crossover later this month. I believe Puyo Puyo Quest, which unfortunately is a Japanese-only version. Yeah, it's funny. I got the Fist of the North Star mobile game, which is Sega published in English, and yet, no, we were not going to put out the Puyo Puyo game in any region other than Japan. Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm excited. Excited for 2 Point Hospital as well. It's kind of been one of the more entertaining parts of the whole big anniversary announcements, because, yeah, I like seeing that there's going to be the big new games, but I'm just not in it for the big new games. I'm in it to see what's the weird stuff that's going to happen. What am I going to laugh at? What am I going to be surprised by? Because I was expecting remakes. That was the thing I was expecting to happen. I was expecting a new Sonic game, given we don't necessarily know what that game is going to be like yet, even if we have some ideas. But a lot of the stuff that they announced just utterly blindsided me, and in a very good way, in a very amusing way. I don't want to blindside you, though, with our next tracks. I am going to announce them. And we've got Mechanical Resonance, the song of Final Egg, requested by Hero of Legend. We've also got another Dreadnoughts request. He requested Keys the Ruin for Pyramid Cave. And in this session, one more, and this one's mine. I chose Panic Puppet Zone, Act 1, a song that is near and dear to my heart because it's just cool. It's just cool, and sometimes that's good enough. See you on the other side. Well, I was gonna start by saying it's been a day, and then I reflected on it and decided, like, yeah, it's God, it's been a week. And then I reflected on it again and thought, like, it's just been this whole month, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a
Just this whole
birthday.
month.
That's what it is. It's been a birthday, a 30th birthday.
Mario trained me poorly. It trained me to think, okay, it's just anniversary. I guess we shouldn't expect too much with COVID. And then the Sonic stuff hit, and it made our lives very fun, but very complicated.
It's worth pointing out as well, like, for anyone who's been living under a rock for the last 6 months, I think most Sonic fans were expecting a constant drip of news throughout the year of Sonic's 30th, but what actually happened was Sega just gave us complete radio silence for the first 6 months, and then right at the end of May just went, yeah, we're dropping a live stream, and then they just gave us about 12 months worth of news in the space of 15 minutes.
Well, not only that, but like that was preceded by other announcements and then further announcements afterwards. It's just been stuff. It's just been nonstop stuff.
It's been great. Like, I've been obviously I've been loving all the announcements. Being a Sonic fan, it's kind of a bit like, yes, at last. I'm trying to be understanding of the fact that COVID-19 has pushed a lot of this stuff back. I mean, you know, I know for a fact that Sonic Colors Ultimate, which, you know, has been announced for a September release this year, was actually supposed to be announced last June. So it just never got that far because they decided to hold off on the announcement. So there's every possibility that Sonic Colors would have been released last year. But yeah, I think that just gives you the kind of scale, an idea of the scale of what Sonic Team, Sega, and not just them, but every games developer has had to deal with from a remote working situation. It's really pushed things back, but there is a part of me that's still very much like, oh, come on, man, like just announce something, give us a morsel of something. So it was really
they gave
really
us
nice.
a morsel, all right.
Oh god, they gave us the whole cake and the bakery, I think, with that.
Well, the funny thing is, they gave us the whole cake in the bakery, but so much of the sentiment that I've heard from people, not everyone, obviously, but a lot of people is like, why didn't they just show us more of the new Sonic game?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, I guess for anyone who's just, you know, listening in from, you know, being unthawed from the Ice Age and doesn't know what we're talking about, I guess we should go over what was briefly announced in that stream. So there was a live stream that happened in the end of May, and the big things that they announced, alongside a bunch of collaborations with other Sega games, was there was some details on Sonic Prime, which is a Netflix show that's happening next year. That was really awesome. There's some merchandise happening, which, you know, we won't go into, but it's stuff you can buy, obviously, and it all looks good. But the three major things was, you know, a remaster of Sonic Colors on most of the major, if not all of the major modern platforms. So fans finally get a chance to play this game not on a Wii, so it's great to have that. The second drop was a collection of old Sonic titles called Sonic Origins, which, you know, again is, you know, if you think of Sonic Mega Collection on the GameCube and PlayStation 2 from way back when, this is another package of old Mega Drive Sonic games, but again on modern platforms, so really useful to have here. And the big thing
I
at the
noticed
end was
something in the symphony itself, now that you bring that up, and I don't know why my eyes specifically went for this fact, but as they were showing the recorded video for each of the games, I specifically noticed that Sonic 1 and 2, whenever it was up on the screen, were the complete widescreen versions, and then whenever they jumped over to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, that was still in 4:3. So it kind of tells you where they are with that game right now.
Yeah, that marries up with the trailer for Sonic Origins, right? So we got a lot of people talking about whether those versions in Sonic Origins are going to be, well, they're definitely going to be widescreen. Sega confirmed as much, but, you know, exactly what does that mean exactly? So we know that the only versions that exist already of widescreen versions of Sonic 1 and 2 It involved Christian Whitehead's iOS and Android versions of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So it got a lot of people maybe assuming or guessing that maybe we will finally see these games on modern platforms as well, which a lot of people have been asking for ever since ever since they released on mobile, really, but especially those voices got louder when Sega released the Sega Ages collection on the Nintendo Switch, and the Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 releases of those were incredibly faithful to the Mega Drive originals in terms of aspect ratio and game features. So I got a lot of people asking for Taxman's versions of those games very loudly. But the
accuracy is what you're going to get from M2. That's what they specialize in.
Yeah, of course. Oh no, I love what they've done to those two games. So I'm not complaining whatsoever. But yeah, a lot of people were asking for maybe as well as, not instead of, Christian Whitehead's versions on top of the Sega Ages, which I would have been supportive of. But it sounds like we're probably getting that now. But Sega obviously has been very tight-lipped on what that actually means. And the other thing was the 2022 Sonic game, which, there's rumors about what that game's title could be. But Sega's obviously been coy to not exactly confirm that, even though it's probably like the worst kept secret in the world right now.
Now, Sega would very much like you to buy a Colors remake before you start worrying about buying whatever comes next.
Indeed. But I think they showed it. We had an exclusive interview with Takashi Iizuka this week on the Sonic Stadium, and he expressed to us that the reason they put the teaser trailer, and it was literally about maybe 30 seconds long, but it gave us nothing other than Sonic warping to a thing and a mysterious glyph and the release window of 2022. And a lot of people were asking, well, what's the point of just having a teaser when we want the cake in a bakery? We want the cake in a bakery. We don't give us a slice. And Izuka-san had told us that the reason that they even put that in there in the first place in the May broadcast was because they wanted to reassure fans that since it's been so long since Sonic Forces came out, they wanted to reassure fans that yeah, they are actually making a Sonic game still. It's happening. It's just coming a little bit later because of reasons. So, I think people just need to be a bit more patient with this. And yeah, there's so many other things. I mean, Sega Shop, both in the US and the UK, have made specific merchandise for the 30th anniversary too. So it's just a huge celebration all round. And do you know what? The great thing as well was with the orchestra that took place last night in pre-record times. For us, it's yesterday, as GX said. It wasn't just Sonic fans that seemed to be really loving it, but it felt like for the first time in a long while, most of the fan base had really come together in unison to enjoy something, and it wasn't something for others to cringe at fans about. Like, most times when a Sonic thing happens, you get people who aren't Sonic fans kind of look to the side and just kind of go, huh, Sonic fans, huh? Get a load of this guy. But there was none of that happening with the orchestra and the symphony. It was genuinely a really heartwarming experience, and a lot of Sonic fans, including myself, were very emotional hearing all the music as they played it. And a lot of people who weren't Sonic fans were listening to it too and just kind of going, you know what? Fair play. Good stuff. Good on you, Sonic fans. You got something good. And we're just all like, well, we've always got something good. Even the bad games we can have enjoyment from them. You just got to change your perspective, mate. So
I do not love Sonic 06, but that game, like, if anything positive comes out of it, is certainly that game's soundtrack. I was very close, if not in tears, when I heard My Destiny from Sonic 06 play, because I hadn't heard it since I actually completed the game back in, well, a million years ago. I think I completed it and never touched it again because, for obvious reasons. So that was the first time I heard that song in forever. And, normally when I replay Sonic songs, it's the more energetic
tracks. It's the Jun Senoi tracks. It's the Tommy Altony tracks. It's not really the slow music. And hearing that from an orchestra so beautifully played was stunning. Like it my jaw was on the floor.
You know what I came to... One of the things that I've come to appreciate over the years that I did not necessarily care for originally, I kind of like Speak With Your Heart now. I think that song is all right. Like, I listened to it whenever I first played Colors, like, oh yeah, this is weird. This is kind of sappy. And then by this day and age now, it's like, you know what? Knowing where they went with the tone of Sonic in the last few years, this makes sense. And it's solid. It's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know what, there's a lot of Sonic songs, there's a lot of things in general, I think, just outside of Sonic, where when you first hear it or when you first experience it, you're kind of like, what's that all about? That's a bit cringe. But then with the passage of time and the benefit of the hindsight, you can kind of revisit those things and enjoy them and respect them for what they were trying to do at the time. You can experience something like Speak With Your Heart and kind of go, well, I don't really get it. And then experience it much later on again and revisit it and see it with a new set of eyes and a new way of thinking. And I think that's totally valid. I mean, I was almost the same with Reach for the Stars. Like, I love Sonic Colors. It's probably my favorite modern Sonic game. It's really great, but I wouldn't say that Reach for the Stars is my favorite vocal theme. So, you know, it's kind of, it exists and it's okay. That's about the extent of it. Like, it doesn't offend me. It's just sort of there. But then I saw it being performed live on the Sonic Orchestra, and it was just like, wow, like, where's this song been all my life? It almost felt like I was experiencing a completely different song, which I know we later found out that Otani-san has actually sort of done a remix to it, sort of thing. That's obvious, but you know, just hearing the song again live just gives it an extra kind of bite that wasn't really there in the original cut, and I was all for it. I was living for it.
Well, we waxed a lot of modern nostalgia in our conversations about the anniversary, and we're gonna wax a little bit more modern nostalgia, jumping over to Shig's request. He wanted Rogue's Gallery, the music of Mirage Saloon Act 2 from Sonic Mania. And to go a little bit farther back, Knuckles87 requested Rusty Ruin Zone Act 2, the Saturn version specifically from Sonic 3D Blast. We will be back in a bit. Hey, it's GX back here again, actual modern times GX, and there's been a lot of spirited conversation going on in the chat today about the monikers that we attach to games, the concept of the creator of a game or an engine surrounding it, and I just figured might as well spend some time to remember, hey, any game and every game is not usually just the product of a single person or a single developer. It's almost always the product of a full team working hard, working at various things, and sometimes it just takes. It's a good idea to just appreciate that and sit down, and if you ever have a chance, there are many Sonic wikis out there. Just jump on one of your favorite Sonic games and just scroll through the credits and see if you can figure out some of the other games that some of your favorite developers have. Like, who was the level designer? Who did the music beyond Choons? I can never pronounce his name right. Sonoy. Just go ahead, take some time, enjoy. We're going to jump into another set of songs. And in this segment, we've got two suggestions. First one is Mystic Ruin. Again, recommended by Hero of Legend. Sonic Adventure track dealing with the sort of, I guess, jungle or forest theme. And we've got Windmill Island Night, recommended by Shigs from Sonic Unleashed. Again, Sonic Unleashed, one of my favorite soundtracks. Love it. Absolutely. Let's go ahead, take a listen.
Yeah.
So I kind of noticed a pattern going on in I read through all of the comments on the site just for the sake of trying to get them approved as best and quickly as I can. And a big sentiment that seems to be in play right now is a lot of people who want that remake of Unleashed specifically. And I enjoyed Unleashed at the time. I was in the weird position where I did not own an HD console at the time, and I did not get the HD version of Unleashed for, we'll say, more than a year after it was actually released. I played the Wii version, and I like the Wii version. I think the Wii version has the dimps. What dimps brought to that version was the daytime levels felt more like a racer over a platformer, we'll say. And it has an interesting flavor to it. But even after I played the HD version, I kind of struggle to see the thing that has kept it in people's minds and hearts. What is it about Unleashed that a bunch of people like? Because the we'll say maybe the cynical side of me looks at it and thinks that game will be about 13 years old this year. And if you were 12 when it came out, you're roughly in your mid to late 20s now. And that might just be like, hey, my first Sonic game was the important one. And it can't completely hold to that, but there's got to be at least some of that there.
I really enjoy Sonic Unleashed. I think it's a great game. I think what it tries to do is fantastic. It has a lot of plus points, a lot of great features. Its visuals are incredible. Its speed is unmatched. The sheer effort in detail in the levels and the Hedgehog engine and just the amount of time that was spent working on the levels, because they had to make each daytime level, I should say, about the equivalent of 3 human miles long. I do think a large part of it is down to people growing up playing Sonic Unleashed. I don't think that can be discounted, because Sonic Unleashed was literally like a generation ago. And we go through this in waves, I think. Like, this time about 10 years ago, you'd have loads and loads and loads of people talking about Sonic Adventure and talking about Sonic Adventure 3. When's Sonic Adventure 3? When's Sonic Adventure 3? You still get the odd "Where's Sonic Adventure 3" from the odd fan. I think there's still a fan page on Facebook or something dedicated to that. Not sure why.
Hear it often. I certainly hear it often enough that makes me look at it and question, wait, what? First off, we got a Sonic Adventure 3 and very few people liked it.
Well, yeah, I mean, semantics aside, I think people want to follow up to Sonic Adventure 2 in that particular style, and I get that. Like, I get that. Sonic Adventure 2 is a great game. Whether it's held up well or not is a debate for another time. But there's people who back about 5 or 10 years ago, the big noise was Sonic Adventure. It wasn't Sonic Unleashed. It was this is all great and everything, but bring back Sonic Adventure. And I think you're hearing that a lot less now, because the people who were saying that back then have grown up, and I think they've just kind of, like the classic Sonic fans before them, when Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 came out and people were going, this is great, but bring back Sonic 3 and Knuckles, like do a follow-up to that. No, not like Sonic 4. Not like Sonic 4.
I was going to bring that up, because that felt like the last time that happened, and it felt like they just weren't going to until eventually Sonic Mania happened.
I can't tell you. I mean, there is, obviously I grew up playing the classic Sonic games, right? So there's a part of me that's very, classic Sonic fan aligned. But I wouldn't call myself, a dyed-in-a-wool classic Sonic fan, like, hardcore, only the classic games are good. That's not where I sit. I still think there are modern games that are fantastic, experiences for Sonic fans as well. But when Sonic Mania came out, it was like a huge part of my childhood had just been like, it was amazing. Like it was just like the child in me was just overjoyed, and it was an experience that I don't think any other Sonic game could have ever provided me. But you know, that was Sonic Mania, and that was classic fans. But like, you don't hear much about classic fans anymore. They kind of you know, feel like they've said their piece, and the same with Sonic Adventure. So I think now is the time of Unleashed fans to be talking about their favorite Sonic game and why they think that should get a second look, and why there should be a Hedgehog Engine 2 and all the rest of it. You know, this is why you're probably hearing that stuff. But
there is a Hedgehog Engine 2. It's kind of why Sonic Forces turned out the way it did, because so much work was done to make it. Then they used it for Sakura Wars.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, let's talk about Hedgehog Engine 3 then. Let's talk about that.
That's the one that will let me have all of the characters I want.
Yeah. So I think that's only half the story, though, if I'm being really honest. If I had to think about it more seriously, I think the thing that I think stays with a lot of Sonic fans with Unleashed is that it really is a game of firsts. And I think Sonic fans do latch on to Sonic games that are very prominent first in X, Y, and Z in a certain particular category. And I think with Sonic Unleashed, it was really the first Sonic game where they kind of took a new track with gameplay. Like they leaned away. They'd done the Sonic Adventure style of corridor-based, thoughtful platforming, but still go quite fast, from Sonic Adventure 1 to Heroes and Sonic 06. And I think with Sonic 06, Sega kind of felt like, well, this needs a rethink. Let's think about what Sonic actually means on modern consoles. And
I kind of look at it as an evolution of Sonic Rush, which was, in that era, one of the best considered Sonic games of that time.
Yeah, totally, actually. That's a really good point. With the boost and a ring system and everything, I could totally see that being the case. But for one reason or another, I would basically say that Sonic Unleashed was maybe the first Sonic game that took fans through a new style of Sonic gameplay, much like Sonic Adventure did, much like, you know, Sonic 1 did, I suppose. So I think a lot of fans latch onto that because they found the boost gameplay so addicting, and the idea of Sonic being able to be almost driven like a race car through these really long and intricate racetracks. And I think Sonic Unleashed actually gave fans the ability to drive Sonic almost like a car, like blast through these, you know, these deserts, these jungles, these wastelands, screech around corners like you're an F1 driver or something. And it does give you a real hit of energy when you pull that off, and it looks really good. I think ultimately, for me personally, it was great to play at first, and it's great for speedruns too as well. I think that's the third reason. I think people replay Sonic games for the speedrun opportunity, and I think that's one of the big reasons why Sonic Unleashed has stuck with so many people, because you can replay it and find so many different routes. And I appreciate that, but I think for me, I look for Sonic more as a platforming experience rather than a kind of go really fast and remember to press the slide button at the right time. Because I think my main issue with that particular game is for being the first at what it wanted to do, for laying the groundwork for Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations. I think Sonic Unleashed is really one of the big tentpole Sonic games, and it has to be celebrated. But when I was playing it, I loved it at first, but you unlike classic Sonic games or even Sonic Adventure 1, you can't not play Sonic Unleashed for, say, 6 months to a year and then come back to it with a clean memory and enjoy it. Sonic Unleashed is one of those games where you can only really enjoy it if you memorize everything. Like, if you memorize the level layout, if you know how best to speedrun this stuff. It's a game that looks really cool when you see other people playing it really expertly, and if you play it expertly, it gives you that real adrenaline rush. But I think if you are one of those players where, you know, you come back from gaming after a 6 month, 2 year sabbatical, and the first game you play is Sonic Unleashed, the first thing you're going to do is go to Windmill Hill, I think, rush through all of these stages, and then you're going to hit boost, you're going to hold on to boost, you're going to try and, you know, get the upper route, but you miss all the jumps because, you know, you're going too fast, and then you keep hitting walls because you're not pressing the slide button early enough, and it really ruins the game flow if you don't know what you're doing. So I think that adds a layer of frustration for casual gamers to not be able to really get that and enjoy Sonic on that level of accessibility. But that's just me, right? But I think the other elements I mentioned, you know, the speed run element, the fact that it was the first to really take advantage of Sonic speed, the sheer level of effort that went into it, the animation quality, the graphical quality, I think all these things really do marry up to why people adore Sonic Unleashed so much. There is obviously a generational element to it too, but I think that's only part of the picture.
If I wax a bit positive on this game, and I guess wax is the word of the day, it certainly was. Number one, it has a fantastic soundtrack, which it's my favorite Sonic soundtrack. I may have fallen out of love with the game itself, but I will always love its soundtrack. It's fantastic.
100%, 100%.
But it also felt like the last really big budget Sonic game. Like it never felt like any other Sonic game that came after, including stuff like Generations, really chased the scope of it, we'll say. They developed a world for that game because it was Sonic World Adventure by the Japanese title. They had the big fancy Marza animation cutscenes of Werehog Sonic. They followed that up with a bunch of animated shorts. There were like 4 of them, including a real proper animated short in Night of the Werehog. Then they're good. They still hold up. They're exceptional. I'm impressed by it anytime I go back to it. It had stage elements that you don't necessarily see in later Sonic titles, like if you are running through a plaza area that's just full of furniture, like Sonic's wind gust and just speed just tosses it aside. It's kind of like if you've ever played a Ratchet and Clank game, and I love the Ratchet and Clank series, one of the things you kind of run into is it always feels like you're a little bit separated from the world, that things that are props just feel like props rather than parts to the environment. Sonic Unleashed kind of didn't have that. It had places that felt well designed and real, and it is a game that I kind of look at and wish that if things in it were optimized, if they could go back with the same budget that they have now, but with the same budget that they had then, but with the knowledge that they have now, what kind of game would they come out with, knowing sort of the arc of that boost style of gameplay? And
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know the answer to that, but as a preservationist, I can at least relate to the fact that, you know what, all games probably should be available if they're able to be. Even games like Sonic 06, I think, for the sake of preservation, should be on a storefront or two just to continue to be available. But
Yeah, it's a game that definitely deserves a re-release of some sort. I mean, I think you're right in that, you know, Sonic Unleashed really did feel like the last Sonic game that felt maybe like super premium for Sega. Like it had that extra kind of polish to it, I think, at least in the graphics department. And I think that may have been what, you know, maybe turn the tables for a lot of people in terms of what their favorite Sonic game is. It's definitely something to think about. I would say that it's great to be able to play Sonic Unleashed on, you know, a modern Xbox, because that game is backwards compatible. It's still widely available on the Xbox store, but I think that's a bit of a cop-out. The game definitely needs a formal re-release on, you know, things like Steam and PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch. Yeah, of course it can handle it. What am I even thinking? But at the very least, I do hear what the fans are saying about it being somewhat criminal that Sega hasn't found a means to, re-release Sonic Unleashed in some way. And maybe it's the next one in line after Sonic Colors. Who knows?
I think the real takeaway here is that Sonic Team needs to stop making engines. They just need to use the pre-existing engines. Just no one will fault you for using Unreal Engine. We're okay with that. We understand. But we are going to actually jump into Sonic Unleashed's premiere song, its main theme, Endless Possibility, requested by SSF 1991. And when we get back, we're going to wrap up with 3 final songs. Hey y'all, GX again. And we are getting close to the end of the evening. Wrapping things up for the night. I hope you've enjoyed this brand new style of SegaSonic Radio, enjoying some great tunes and good company. We are going to just sort of continue to push forward, just for the sake of time. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next set of songs just right away as we get to our final conversations with Dread as well. It's getting late. It's getting late for you guys. It's getting late for me. I'm just starting to wind down for the evening. It took a lot to get this together, and I'm just so bolstered by the fact that so many people have had such a good time with it tonight. I'm sincerely blown away, and I want to thank everyone who's watching it now and who watches the replay later and is just having a great time. We're going to jump over to two further songs. First one is a request by SSF 1991, and this was probably the most stereotypical choice for him, as people mentioned in chat. He chose Toxic Caves from Sonic Spinball. And Dreadnux made another request. Not his final request, but another request. He chose Doctor's Mine from Team Sonic Racing. It's a very nice track. It goes very well with the literal track that it's on. So we still got, just as a heads up, we still got about half an hour of show left, probably closer to like half hour, 20 minutes, around then. If you would like to listen to next week's, we air, first off, it won't be as long as this one. Second, it will be on Fridays at 7 p.m. Hey, there's also other shows over on Sonic Stadium Twitch. We certainly always appreciate it if you give us a subscribe. Doesn't do much except let you know when we go live with our shows, such as SSF 1991 playing Chow World Extended, such as Knuckles 87's monthly streams of various themes that he likes. Knuckles, I think I just named your series. It's Knuckles streams of various themes. Congrats. I don't know if you're going to stick with that, but I'm going to refer to that from now on. And of course, my premiere series, well, premiere as in the series I do, called Almost Every Sonic. It airs Sundays at 7 p.m., in which I attempt to play almost every Sonic game, no matter how obscure, or how weird, or how tangential. We're going to go ahead, hit the music. This is the last you'll hear of me tonight. So good night all, but you're going to hear from Past Me one more time. And you're going to hear from Dread one or two more times. And then we're going to head out for the night. So from the present, peace out, y'all. We are up, over, and gone. But from the past, here is Toxic Caves and Doctor's Minds. So you had some requests in this list of songs, this soundtrack, as you will.
Mm.
I didn't really give you the opportunity to introduce them yourself. So you picked Keys to the Ruin from Pyramid Cave from Sonic Adventure 2, and Doctor's Mind, which we just finished listening to, and you have another song coming up, which we won't say yet. But I'm curious what of these three kind of stuck out to you.
Yeah, so I think Keys to the Ruin, Pyramid Cave is one of those Sonic levels that has just always stuck with me. Probably through just brute force. I remember playing Sonic Adventure 2 when it came out, and I was 15 years old, 16 years old maybe at the time, and I spent that entire summer just constantly replaying and replaying every single Sonic Adventure 2 level over and over again. And the beautiful thing about Sonic Adventure 2 is that those stages have real depth to them. Like, you can play them straight off and get the A rank or get the E rank if you prefer, whatever you want to do, straight off, and it's fine. But there are missions to each of those stages which add different challenges, and that's not really something that you see in many games, let alone Sonic games, where they kind of remix the stages. Some of the stages being, find the hidden Chow or collect an X amount of rings. And one of my favorites on all of these stages was the final one, which was hard mode. Now, hard mode in most games means, this enemy needs more hits than necessary, or their shots to you will kill you instead of blah blah blah.
We adjust things mathematically so that you are having a statistically more difficult time.
Yeah, it's all numbers, right? Or it's hitboxes and all the rest of it. It's very boring and blah. But Sonic Adventure 2 did something quite different, which was, they changed some of the level layouts and some of the mapping of enemies and the positioning of enemies, so it really kept you on your toes. And one of the levels, and so therefore you have to, what would have worked in City Escape normal mode to get you that A rank would most likely require a completely different way of thinking on the hard mode of that. And of course, in hard mode you need more points to get the A rank anyway, so you really do need to take your time to study some of the later levels, like Crazy Gadget, for example, where some of the upside down puzzles have been completely changed in hard mode. So I spent a lot of time making sure I 100%ed this game, and Pyramid Cave was probably the level where I spent the most time, because a lot of the hard mode stuff and the secrets in that were pretty well hidden. And B, because of the sheer satisfaction I got from when I finally was able to figure out that there was a completely different route to get that A rank in hard mode, which was required, including light speed dashes, mystic melodies, grabbing on swinging bars, everything you could think of was required. And I remember doing it, and I felt so accomplished. I was just like, that was my defining moment of the summer. Being the nerd that I am, that sounds really sad, but that is true. So it's
at a certain age, look, we all had more time than we did obligations, so
yeah, of course. So for me, Pyramid Cave, and it was also a track that I requested that the Sonic Adventure Music Experience played in their UK gig in 2019. We worked with Jun Sonoy he came to the UK to play the Sonic Adventure Music Experience. And he asked both me and Adam Tuff, like, which song is our favourite that he could play for the audience, and I picked Keys to the Ruin, and everyone went mad for it. So yeah, that's one reason why I picked it. The other one, Doctor's Mind, it's just a banger, mate. Seriously, like there's nothing more than that. I think Team Sonic Racing in general is a fantastic soundtrack, and because it's the most recent,
it's great. It's not only is it the most recent one, but it was one where they collaborated with a bunch of people that had been sort of famous for having like recent Sonic songs. There's some Cash in there. There's some I kept wanting to say super potions, but it's not super potions. It's hyper potions. There's some hyper potion in there. There's a lot of collaboration with Jun Sonoy. It's a solid soundtrack all around, and if you have not listened to it, absolutely give it a shot, everyone.
It is essentially that whole game soundtrack. It's entirely like it's Jun Sonoe going to town. Like it's his, it's basically his magnum opus. Like for what the gameplay is like in that game, I always think of Team Sonic Racing. The gameplay is fine, right? It's no All Stars Racing transformed, unfortunately. It's a lot more basic, but I give it a pass because it was made on a significantly smaller budget compared. But where this game really shines is I liken Team Sonic Racing as essentially an interactive rock album of Sonic, which that's not to downplay the actual game side of the game, but the soundtrack is really what it is. It's essentially an interactive album, and you can tell, like, Sonoe-san put everything he had into this entire track. It's the culmination of everything he did from the Sonic Adventure 2 era with the guitars, to some of the Sonic Heroes stuff with collaborating with digital artists like Toriena from Japan, to even Sonic Mania, like nods to that with collaborations with T. Lopes and for Sandopolis music as well. I mean, when I heard the Sandopolis music play in a modern format, I lost my mind. It's amazing. And Doctor's Mine is one of those tracks early on in the game that probably doesn't get as much love as it probably should. I think all of the tracks should get like love, but there's just a bit in Doctor's Mine where the rhythm is just so good, and it feels like a final stage almost, you know? I mean, it's called Doctor's Mine, but you play this stage like 3 levels in, and it feels like you're already at the final boss. It's that good. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I picked that one.
It's and not only like that stage, for those of you who have not seen this one particular, you might interpret this as, well, this is going to be one of the various high-tech stages that we haven't faced. No, this is one of the ones that are just in Planet Wisp, with giant half pipes made of orange metal set against the big lush green forests, and driving through these sort of giant spinning blades that are cutting through it. It's sort of just in the same vein as the Wisp Circuit and Mother's Canyon from the same game as well. So it even has elements of Planet Wisp. I believe it is a remix of the Planet Wisp music, originally from Sonic Colors as well. But we're going to wrap things up for the night, and we have a final request. And I was surprised to hear this specific request from both you and from Shigs. And this was completely separate between the two of you. You did not collaborate to choose this song, but this was the only song that more than one person wanted to hear. And I'll let you introduce it.
Serendipity, my friend. There was no collusion, I swear to God. This track, I wanted to pick this track because I don't hear it enough in terms of Sonic theme songs. It's a fantastic final theme to a classic Sonic game that I think, as a game, it really did its best. It may have missed the mark a little bit in terms of execution, but I really adored this game for what it tried to do and how it tried to stick to a modern idea of what a classic Sonic game might look like. And yeah, as one of Crush 40's more popular songs, it's nowhere near as popular as things like Live and Learn or Open Your Heart, but I think it deserves a lot more love than it gets. And every time that Crush 40 plays it at Summer of Sonic, it gets my head bopping a lot, and it's really good fun. So for those of you who love Sonic Heroes, and for those of you who love Metal Overlords in particular, it's my pleasure to introduce you as the final song of the night, Crush 40's What I'm Made Of.
Let me show you just what I'm made of now. You can't take another lifelong try. You can't take another try. Trying to reach inside of me, trying to take my energy. Let me show you just what I'm made of. Simple curiosity, trying to take a bite of me. Let me show you just what I'm made of now. Trying to reach inside of me, trying to take my energy. Let me show you just what I'm made of.
Sure thing. And hey, do you have anything you want to pitch or plug before we head out for the evening?
Visit the Sonic Stadium, www.sonicstadium.org, and
That's what I was looking for.
check out our Twitch channel as well. Stick around. You know, we have schedules and stuff, and we're gonna do more shows, and it's gonna be a good time.
Peace, everyone. We are up, over, and gone.
Take care, everybody. Bye bye.